What's up? Good morning, church. Is everybody good? Don't you hate it when somebody asks you that? I do. I don't like that. You see somebody at a concert who's speaking. Is everybody okay? I hate that. I just did that just so break the ice. In case you're wondering what's going on the stage up here that looks like a construction zone, that's what it is. It's a construction zone. You remember the end of last year when we took up a special offering to pay for some technology updates we needed to make, audio, video, sound. It took a little while because the engineers had to come in and draw up all the plans, all this kind of stuff. And so we're putting down some stage carpet. I think it's this coming week, and then in 2 weeks, they're coming in to install all the new overheads and screen and projectors, all that kind of stuff. So that's why it looks like this. You know, sometimes in order to move forward, you got to look like you're moving back, but we running forward. That's exactly what we're doing. Now, I want to ask you a question. I don't want you to raise your hands, so hopefully no one would want to raise their hands to this question. But how many of you don't like to be liked? Here, we have our counseling team ready. If you did, raise your hand. You know, we all like to be liked. That's not something we have to be trained for. We're kind of born with that inside. We want people to like us. Even at a very early age, we're finding out what we need to do to make friends. How do we get our cousins to like us, or our neighbor, or the kids that we play with? We're looking for somehow to get people to like us. We want to be liked. How do we know if people like us? Well, back in my day, especially in middle school, if you liked a girl, you just had to write a little note. I like you. Do you like me? Yes or no? How many of you have ever written one of those? Yeah, I mean, now that is just completely obsolete. Just, hey, babe, what's up? You like me? You know? At least back then, if the girl or the guy turned you down, nobody would know. Right? You know, it's not posted on social media. Nobody knows whether or not you got turned down or not. And we got this big, huge machine now called social media where we're getting likes all the time. And that's why you post things on Instagram or Facebook. It's because you want somebody to like it. Right? Yeah, that's why you're doing it. I don't do much on social media much anymore. Got a little older. Doesn't really matter much to me. When it first came out, man, I was all up into that. I jumped up in that, found out how to take care of all that. I have 45,000 followers on Twitter. Still do. I don't know what they're following because I'm clueless. You know, thousands of friends on Facebook, and you know, at one point I had like 2,000 Instagram followers right when it first came out, and people were like, "Oh my gosh, how many times did you get that?" Man, I was in the game, baby. You know, trying to mount up them likes. That's the reason you post things. You want somebody to like it. Facebook first came out. My wife, she was really into Facebook. Hey, sweetie, really into Facebook. She'd, you know, post something great on Facebook, and she'd say, "Honey, did you see that picture I posted?" "Yeah, darling, that's great." "Did you like it?" "Yeah, love that picture." "But you didn't like it." "Well, I just told you, I like it. I love it." "Yeah, but you didn't like it. So if you didn't like it, nobody else knows that you like it. So I need you to go back and like it." And see, that's like a double like, right? Because somebody likes it, then somebody else sees that you liked it, and that gives you almost like a double like. And we all like to be liked. Now, what would happen if Facebook or Instagram were to turn off the response portion? And so it didn't matter what picture you posted, what video you uploaded, or what you said, nobody could like it. It's just there. Facebook and Instagram would die, right? Because that's the reason you post this stuff. I want somebody to like it. You don't post something, "I hope nobody likes this." No, because it's that part of your thing that, you know, we want to be liked. Now, I don't get on social media much anymore, but last couple of weeks I've gotten a whole lot of likes since I posted the picture of my new grandson, Rhett. Yes. Everybody said he is drop dead gorgeous because he looks like me. Can you see? Can you tell? Now, see, when you get those new lights, then you'd be able to see me better. I'm being dark back there now, but you'd really be able to see the striking resemblance if I would have had the right lighting back there. I want to post a picture of my grandson, got a lot of likes. It's my birthday, get a lot of likes. Sometimes we get to the point where we kind of live for likes. And there's this huge issue about being accepted and liked by other people. And the problem with, especially in today's culture, in the social media culture, whenever we're looking for likes, the problem with those is that they expire in a day. You could post an incredible video, share something, and 1,000 people like it, and 100 people share it. And the next day you post a picture of your coffee cup, and nobody likes it. You're like, what happened? 1,000 people liked my stuff yesterday. Now I post a picture of my favorite coffee cup, and nobody even likes it. You can live or die by the like. And the problem with today's likes is they expire. It loses its punch. Because if y'all don't really know, Facebook and Instagram world is not real. People post fake stuff on there all the time. It's not really real. It's like the story in the Old Testament with the Israelites whenever they go out of bondage in Egypt. And they get into the desert. And they're begging God, God, my God, we're so thirsty. Bring us water. And strike the rock. Boom, there's water. God, we're so hungry. We're so hungry. We want to go back to Egypt. We're so hungry. God brings them manna. It falls like dew in the morning. And then it dries. People think it's probably pretty close to a frosted flake, something like that. And it tasted good, and it was good. So God started feeding his people every single morning. He would give them manna. But he told them this, look, don't collect more than you need for a day. Because if you try to collect more and save it, that's a sin, because I'm telling you, don't try and collect more. So what did they do? They tried to collect more, right? So when God started sending the manna, some of them wanted to test the water so they get enough manna for that day, but then they tried to get some more just in case for some reason God changed his mind and they were hungry the next day. But whenever they woke up the next morning, there were maggots all in the manna. And that's the way it is with likes. Whenever we're seeking likes from a social media world, the next day it doesn't matter. Your likes are like maggots. I need something fresh. And that innate desire that we all have is kind of like in three different ways. First, we all need affirmation. We want you to value who I am. I need you to value who I am. And just me, my personality. I need you to affirm that I've got a good personality. I'm likable. I need you to affirm my talents, that these things that I do well. I want you to, yeah, you're good at that. I need you to affirm my quirks, that I'm not perfect. Even with my little crazy self, you still like me. You like me for my looks. You just like me for who I am. You just affirm that you like me. So we look for affirmation. We look for approval. I want you to value what I do. I need you to value my character. I need you to value my choices. I need you to value my choices in life of who I'm with, where I'm working, what I buy, my career, my friends. I need you to have that approval with me. And lastly, we're looking for acceptance. That's where I am. I need you to respect where I am right now. And this is the big part of acceptance, is that I need you to accept me even though you may not agree with me right now. God loves unconditionally. And we, as those who are desiring to operate in the image of God, that means that we accept people. There's a huge difference between acceptance and approval. Acceptance means you value the person where they are, even though you may not agree with them. It's like a child of yours has made a bad choice. Do you stop loving them? Do you stop accepting them? No. And we need that from our friends. We need that from the people that are around us, that, they aren't, fickle about, oh, man, you know what, you did good this week, and so I'm going to like you, but, man, I didn't like what you did last week, so I'm not going to like you anymore, We need that acceptance. But our need for those things, our need for acceptance and approval and affirmation, if those things begin to outweigh our devotion to God, then that brings an issue. We're in our series called The Christian Atheist, and just so to define what that means, first of all, you know what an atheist is. An atheist is someone who does not believe in God, so therefore they don't believe in God, that he exists, so therefore they live like he doesn't exist. Okay? Christian atheist is someone who believes in God, but then even so, though they believe in God, they live like God doesn't exist. There's no consequences for their choices and for their actions. Now today I want to talk about how the Christian atheist believes in God, but just doesn't want to go overboard. How many of you know some Christians, you say, oh man, they just going overboard. They're kind of wacko. You know some people like that? Yeah. Whenever you see it, you say, man, if that's the definition of really being all in with God, you can count me out. Like y'all know Rainbow Hair Man? Y'all seen him? Rainbow Man? For a long time, he'd be at all the major sporting events. He'd be all these big gatherings. He'd wear the rainbow hair, and he'd hold a big sign, John 3:16. And somehow it was like a mystery. How does this guy get where the camera is every time? And this is the rainbow hair Jesus man. And somebody would be like, man, if that's the standard, if I'm supposed to wear a rainbow wig with a sign for John 3:16, count me out. That's too freakish. Now, rainbow-haired man may have done a lot of good for the kingdom. I don't know. I'm not judging him. At least he's doing something. He's doing something. But we can look at something like that and say, man, that's extreme. No, I can't be all in if that's the requirement. That's not really God's requirement. And when we think about not being all in with God, there's a lot of things that can contribute to that. It could be like, well, if I'm really all in for God and I really want to get into this church thing, man, I got to come to church on Sundays, and that's like my only day off. That's my only time I can do something for me. Or it could be, man, if you're supposed to be a real Christian, you're supposed to, give some of your money. I don't have any money. I can't do that, so I can't be all in. Or you're supposed to help other people. I don't have time for that. Or you're supposed to serve. Really don't want to do that. I'm not comfortable with that. There are a lot of different reasons why someone would not want to be all in with God. But I think the biggest reason is because we're afraid we'll stop being liked. Because we want to live for likes. Jesus was speaking to a group of community and religious leaders once, and this issue came up. The big group that was there, they had heard Jesus teach, and he was brilliant. They heard him saying that he was the Son of God. He was the Savior of the world. And they also saw him do many miracles, which confirmed his claim of being the Son of God. A lot of them didn't believe that. They didn't go in at all. But then there's some that did. John chapter 12, verse 42. Yet at the same time, many, even among the leaders, believed in him. A lot of them didn't believe, but there are many who did believe. And so they made this belief, which it wasn't just a mental assent. It wasn't like, okay, I think that's right. this signifies really a heart change. It was a commitment. It was like, yes, I'm going to be in a relationship with God through his son Jesus. I recognize who you are. I'm surrendering my life to that. But that commitment, that newfound faith, was only going to be contained within. The next verse said, but they would not openly acknowledge their faith for fear they would be put out of the synagogue. You need to understand what the synagogue was. That was the epicenter of the community. That's where everything took place. It was built, and its primary purpose was for that of a religious and practice of the Jewish faith, but it served so many different things. Much like a church would today. Just think about a time when there weren't malls or anywhere to go, no restaurants to go eat out. Everybody met at the synagogue. That's where you were. You saw your friends there. And since they didn't have email or phones, you know what? If you weren't at the synagogue where all your other friends were, maybe a good chance you wouldn't get invited to that party they were having. You would miss that business opportunity. You would miss an opportunity to network with someone that could help you down the road. You would meet your friends there. You would make new friends there. You would get reacquainted with old friends. That's what you did. And whenever these new believers in Jesus thought about making it public or living a life that would signify what actually took place on the inside, they were fearful. They thought they were going to lose something. You see, all that affirmation and approval and acceptance that they wanted and what they really needed, they thought instead they were going to have rejection, separation, and exclusion. The very things that I really need in my life are going to be taken away from me if I make a stand for Jesus. I'm going to be the biggest loser. And what really drove that fear? Verse 43, this is because they loved human praise more than praise from God. Ooh. They wanted everybody else to like him, and it didn't really matter if God liked them. They saw Jesus. I really believe that, but it's such a high price to pay. And whenever we become like that, that really makes God angry, and it really makes him literally sick. In the last book of the Bible, the book of Revelation, the first several chapters are actually letters that Jesus wrote to 7 churches. And he would write what you're doing good and what you're doing wrong. This is what I want you to do. The last one, the 7th that's written to, was a church called Laodicea. Laodicea was by far the most vibrant, the most successful city of the 7. History says that they were far ahead in technology. They were far ahead in manufacturing. There's a greater financial base, a greater cultural base. They really had it going on. It was almost like an ancient day Dubai, where they wanted to be the first in everything. And they were. They were the most prosperous in all the other cities. And so when Jesus was talking to these 7 churches, the first 6, he would say, look, I know what you're doing, and you're doing some good stuff. You're doing this and this and this, and that's great. But you know what? I have this against you. You're not doing this, you're not doing this. Now, let's get that right. But to the last one, to the 7th one, to Laodicea, he had nothing good to say. Nothing good to say. He went straight in to his rebuke of them. Revelation chapter 3, verse 15. He says, I know all the things you do, that you are neither hot nor cold, and I wish that you were one or the other. Be one of the other. For goodness sakes, make a decision. Make a choice and stick with it. How many of you find it hard to deal with indecisive people? Me? Great day. Woo. Don't you just love getting behind somebody in the car and they can't make up their mind whether they want to go right or left? And they keep slowing down, and I'm just like, for the love, will you please pull on the side of the road, check your Google map, out of my way. Call whoever it is you're trying to find. Don't drag me into this. Don't make my day miserable riding behind you at 12 miles an hour because you can't decide whether you want to go right or left. Please make a decision. And don't you just love going out with a group of people and they can't decide where to eat? You know, I'm not particular. When it's time to eat, then it's time to eat. So, where y'all want to eat? Blah, 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 blah. Okay? All right? Y'all have had some time for discussion. What's the choice? Where are we going to go? Well, blah, 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 blah. And then I'm like, okay, look, I'm going to call it like it is. I'm giving y'all 10 seconds. And if y'all have not made a decision, I don't care. I really don't care. Just tell me where we're going. I don't care. But if you don't make a decision, I will make a decision in 10 seconds, and that decision is undetestable. 10, 9, 8. You got to make a choice. We can sit here all night long trying to decide where we're going to eat, and I could starve to death in the process. Indecision. Jesus said, you won't make a decision whether you're going to be all in with me or you're not. You want to keep a toe in both worlds. And Jesus said, I really hate it when someone does that. Verse 16, but since you are like lukewarm water, neither hot nor cold, I will spit you out of my mouth. And you know, there are a lot of people who teach this verse, and they're saying like it's throwing up. No, it's not throwing up. It doesn't even get that far. It just spit it out. You know, a lukewarm Christian, you know that's an oxymoron. You know what an oxymoron is? An oxymoron is when you have a phrase or a title or sign something, and there's two things that simply can't and should not be together, but you put them together anyway. And does it make any sense? Like jumbo shrimp. That's an oxymoron, right? Or if you go to Hawaii and they have interstate highways. Some of y'all slow. Or you have a pair of underwear. That's an oxymoron, right? It just doesn't belong together. They don't fit. Like a lukewarm Christian. That's an oxymoron. Those two things should not be together. You know, being lukewarm, a little bit of both, it's like we don't want to upset anybody. We just want to be good for everybody. If I'm in this group, and I kind of act a little more cold. If I'm in this group, I act a little more hot. You know, whenever my mom was pregnant with me, the doctor gave her an antibiotic, and it basically really gave my teeth a hard time. My whole life, the doctor told my mom when I was a kid, look, the doctor shouldn't have given you this. They didn't do the test right. And they found out if a mother takes this while she's pregnant, it makes your teeth brittle. And the older I get, my teeth will literally break because I'd clench my teeth anyway. And so over the last several years, as I've gotten a little more seasoned in life, I'll grip my teeth, and I've had a lot of trouble with fracturing my teeth and have to go, and they'd have to pull one out and put in an implant and do this, just a lot of stuff in my teeth. And whenever, you know, I was thinking that, oh my gosh, I can feel one, you know, getting bad. You ever had a tooth like that? You go to the dentist and they say, which one is it? Well, it's somewhere over here. You know, it's somewhere. It's kind of hard to put your finger on it. And you know how a dentist tells if a tooth is bad or not? He gets this god-awful thing, looks like a pencil, I guess, and the thing is like 95 degrees below zero, and he touches your teeth with it. That okay? Yeah, that's okay? That okay? Okay? No, that is not okay. That is not all right. That is the one. That's the one right there. You know, whenever, you know, if you were to have something bad in your mouth and you put something lukewarm in it, you don't know if it's bad or not. You need to be hot or cold to know whether something's good or bad. And we need to be, as people, all in with God so that we can understand what is good and what's bad. Jesus said, whenever someone's lukewarm, it causes a violent reaction from me. I mean, as soon as I put it in my mouth, that's not good. You know, you can eat something that's really bad for you, but not know it at the time. How many of you have ever had food poisoning? You know, as soon as you put the food in your mouth, it wasn't like, oh my gosh, that's so bad, I need to spit it out. No, it tastes good. You don't know it's bad until that night, until you get that, and the whole feet. Baby, please tell me you bought that toilet paper. It could be poison, but you don't even know it. But then there's some things that are so bad, as soon as you put them in your mouth, I can't have this. You know, this is not right. One of the first trips that Georgie and I took to Liberia after we were married, we went to eat at this young couple's house for dinner. And you need to know the Liberian culture is that food is very important to them. And they want anybody who's comes to visit their country and be a part, they want you to like their food. You know, we're not like that here in the States. If we take you to a restaurant or something and you don't like that, we say, that's no problem. You know, we get something else. But this is part of their culture. They want you to really like their food. And West African food is pretty harsh. It can be pretty hard to handle for most Westerners. And there's this one particular food in West Africa that I just can't handle it at all, and it's called fufu. Fufu is this big, looks like wallpaper paste, this big glob made out of a cassava root, and they beat it together, and they'll put it in a little bowl, and it's not good. Good fufu is an oxymoron. You know what I'm saying? There's no such thing as good fufu. And it's got this bad smell to it. You can just smell it. And this guy that was having us over that night said, Artie, what's your favorite Liberian food? Jollof rice, baby. I love rice. Y'all know that. I love rice. Got to eat rice every day. Liberian jollof rice is awesome. Rice, tomato paste, corn, okra, outstanding. So we went to their house that night, and I was expecting jollof rice. And they lived in a little one-room house, and they, where they slept, and their bed was also their table. And so, they had a little tablecloth and everything laid out, and we pulled up chairs, and they had a towel over it. But as soon as they opened the door, I was like, oh, no. Oh, no. Fufu in the house, no. Oh, man. Oh, I knew I was in trouble. I was like, I can talk. So I started talking. I thought to myself, I'll talk till they fall asleep, and I'll sneak out of this place before I have to do this, but they would have none of it. And the food was covered with a towel, and so we all sat down, and they pulled it back, and sure enough, here was this bowl of fufu. Now, what you do with fufu is you take and you peel you off a piece, and you roll it in your hands like that, and you make it into a little ball. You can't chew it. And you take that little ball, and you dip it in some soup, and you swallow it. Don't chew it. You got to swallow it. So here's my bowl of fufu. In the soup, I look at the soup, and there's a fish head staring right back at me. Oh, man. This is harsh. This is very, very harsh. This is not going, there's no way this turned out good. No way I survived this. This is not good. And so I tried to talk again. And the brother said, Brother ID, we eat first, then we talk. Oh, no. I tried to get the littlest ball I could. Move the fish head. Dip. When I put that thing in my mouth, everything from my toenails up said, not today. Not today. No way. No way. Violent reaction. You know, and that's the way that Jesus feels whenever he gets a taste of a lukewarm Christian. No, not today. I can't be a part of that. Everything within Jesus' being says that is not right. That does not belong with me. If you're with me, being lukewarm is not a choice. You see, we can be in our culture, in our day, and we think everything is great. You know, we are liked. We do have friends. We do have possessions. We have things, and we think everything is good. And Jesus told this wealthy culture, this city in Laodicea, he said, look, you guys are being lukewarm. And when I have that, I spit it out of my mouth. You see, you think everything is good. Verse 17 says, you say I am rich. I have everything I want. I don't need anything. So why even risk being all in with God? Because everything is good, or it's, pretty good. Why would I want to risk that? Verse 18, Jesus said, you don't realize that you are wretched and miserable and poor and blind and naked. You think everything is good. You don't know what you're missing. Comparatively, to live in a lukewarm life and being one that's sold out for God, those are two different worlds. You have no idea what you're missing. You think you're kind of balancing that act pretty good, With the Christian folk, I'm pretty Christian. With the other folk, I'm pretty other. But I'm not making a stand either way. But Jesus said, you think you're something, but you're really not that. You ever seen those videos of people who get drunk and think they can do something that they can't? That's hilarious. Don't want anybody to get hurt, but since they did get hurt and they filmed it, I might laugh at it. I'm just saying. You see, one of those boys, hey, I just got this big umbrella. I think I can jump off the roof with this. Hold my beer. Watch this. Never turns out good. He thinks he can fly. Or he'll be in a bar and he'll see a good-looking lady and her boyfriend's 3 times his size. He's like, man, I think I could take him. No, you can't. It's amazing whenever you get intoxicated. Not me, I'm saying y'all, other people, the video people. Whenever the video people get drunk and get intoxicated, how their whole idea and perspective is warped. You think you're something that you're not. You think you can do something that you can't. And that's what happens when we get intoxicated by a culture that we constantly have to look for other people's approval and acceptance. And all of a sudden we think that we've got it all together, and we think we're something that we're not. And Jesus said, that's not for you. That's not for you. You want the best life ever? Do it sold out to Jesus. Because lukewarm Christian is an oxymoron. The Apostle Paul said in Galatians 1, he said, am I striving to please men? If I were still trying to please men, I would not be a bondservant of Christ. You can't be both. Either you're going to look for likes in the world, or you're going to look for likes from God. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with being liked by other people. We all want to be liked by other people. But we cannot look for acceptance and approval from other people at the cost of not being in a sold-out relationship with God. That's the problem. God says, I can supply all of what your heart longs for. Every heart longs for affirmation. We want someone to say, yes, you're talented. Yes, you got a great personality. Yes, you look good. Yes, you're a good person. God said, I created you to be who you are. I gave you the way that you look. I gave you your personality. Of course, I'm going to affirm that because you're my creation. You're perfect in the way that you are. Of course I'll approve you. And we look for someone to give us approval that this is my choices. Is this good? Where I'm going to school, who I'm going to marry, what I'm going to do. God says, whenever you're walking with me, I guide your steps. You don't walk blindly, you walk by faith, not by sight. And so, of course, I'm going to approve your choices because I'm helping you with your choices. And you know what? And even if you're really trying to live for me, even if you don't make the best choices, I'm still going to accept you. God's acceptance of us is unconditional. Even when you make a bad choice. We know if you go back and read the Bible, everybody in the Bible makes a bad choice. Everybody makes mistakes. But the thing about it is, it's the heart. That's why David, even though he committed murder and adultery, God said, that's a man still after my heart. It wasn't because of his choices. It was because of David's heart longed to be in a love relationship. Nothing had any priority over his love relationship with God. And even though he messed up, God says, you're still my man. You're still my man. You still messed up, but you're still my man. Because I see your heart. That really hurt you. That it hurt me. You're not flippant about things like that. As we get ready to close, let me invite you, if you want, come down to the altar and pray if you like. If God has put something on your heart this morning that you just need a minute just with him to pray, let me slip out your seat and come down here and pray. If you've come to realize that, I've tasted everything else, I've tasted all the life that the world has to offer, I've seen so many things, but yet I still have this empty place inside. David said in Psalm 34, he said, taste and see that the Lord is good. Blessed is the one who takes refuge in him. Come and see. Taste and see. Don't you just hate it when you find a new food or something that is so good and your friend won't even taste it? Aggravates me to death. It's like, I tell you what, you're going to put this raw piece of salmon on this little piece of rice in your mouth because it's freaking delicious. If you don't, I'm going to hold your mouth open and make you taste this. Delicious. And even if you don't like it, it's not going to kill you. I promise you it would taste better than fufu and fish head soup. I promise it would taste better than that. You're not going to die tasting this. If you tried so many different ways in life to feel complete and satisfied, and you find yourself like many people do, you're in that lukewarm position where, yeah, I believe in God, yeah, I have a relationship with him, but oh my goodness, if I go a little too far, I may lose some likes. Let me tell you, if you're all in with the family of God, you will have people that understand that, and they will be better friends to you than you could ever find anywhere else. That's why we have the small group fair. I mean, you get involved with other people who are also sold out for God. That doesn't mean they aren't making mistakes and messing up. God only knows we were all in that boat. Come, taste and see. Come, taste and see that the Lord is good. Blessed is the one who takes refuge. Blessed is the one who is sold out. Blessed is the one who is all in with God. Jesus said, if you are not ashamed of me with people that you're around, I won't be ashamed of you whenever I talk about you to my Father. But if you are ashamed of me when you talk to other people, I will be ashamed of you. That's a scary thought. Consider hot or cold. Make a decision, in or out. And I pray that you will make a choice that you'll be all in. Why don't you stand with me and let's pray. Let me invite you, if you want to pray, come down to the altar and pray. Have a moment that you can just be alone with God. Fresh commitment. Something to talk to God about. God, we thank you. We love you. We thank you that you loved us while even we were enemies of you. You came and you gave your life for us, that we may have life and have it everlasting. We may have abundant life where we are now and for all of eternity. God, understanding the thought process behind a lukewarm Christian, that's a difficult thing. And God, I pray for every heart here that they would have a head-on collision with reality and what it is that you require of every believer, that we be all in. In Jesus' name, amen. We're going to be dismissed now. The team is going to continue to worship. If you'd like to hang out with us for just a minute, y'all have a good week. I'll see you next week.